When watching a film like Malcolm and Marie, context is incredibly important. Back in 2018, writer-director Sam Levinson released his second feature film, Assassination Nation, a stylish satire about the power of social media, modern-day witch trials, and objectification of women that largely went unseen. However, while the film has slowly amassed a cult following, of which I'm not a part of, there was a review by critic Katie Walsh that destroyed the film. She said that the film's feminist commentary is just embarrassing to watch, but it offers a patronizing lecture on the contradictory social conditioning of women as some kind of girl power rallying cry, like it's a novel revelation, concluding that the director's gaze reveals the true, lurid intention while spewing misguided words to gesture at empowerment. As it is safe to say, Levinson did not take this nicely. And in a way, it is understandable. Imagine spending years of your life writing and directing a passion project, a story that you believe has something to say about our modern world, only to see it get annihilated in seconds by someone that does not get what you made, and twists it into something that you never intended it to be. This has happened to many artists, and it is the constant struggle between the author's true intent and the critic's interpretation. While others may take it personally, but then move on with their life and try to build something better and different, Levinson did the opposite. After a successful year spent producing the TV show Euphoria, which is not without its own share of controversies, during the pandemic Levinson wrote, directed and released Malcolm and Marie. While many got rightfully excited with the promise of a romantic black and white drama starring Zendaya and John David Washington, the surprise in discovering the actual story of the film was quite revealing. Filmmaker Malcolm Elliott comes home together with his girlfriend Marie Jones after a successful premiere of his new film, only to read a review from a critic that sends him and his relationship in a downward spiral. Lacking complete nuance and subtlety, the critic is identified as a white girl of the LA Times. As hard as one might try to separate the art from the artist, it is impossible in this case, as Levinson forces the parallels between what happened to him and Assassination Nation with Malcolm's own premiere. There are two key interpretations of this film, which might distinguish it from being a self-indulgent mess or a clever piece of autocriticism. The first way you can interpret Malcolm and Marie is an examination of the lack of value found in film criticism, as well as a reinforcement of a third theory, where Malcolm really is the sole author of his film. The entire film is Malcolm and Marie stuck inside a beautiful villa, having a heated argument of shifting intensity, where every time that Marie disapproves of either the portrayal of the lead in Malcolm's film Imani, or of how he used elements of her real life without also giving her the part, or acknowledging her contribution, he had a witty answer ready that only helped in further diminishing and belittling Marie as a person and as a partner. If Levinson sees himself in Malcolm, then he sees himself as in the right, misunderstood by those around him, and always ready to confront others directly and aggressively. While the intent might have been to make us sympathize with such an artist, it backfires almost immediately, because Malcolm is self-centered and filled with ego and pity for critics of his films, going on a long tirade about the importance, or lack thereof, of authenticity in cinema. From this perspective, the film is just plain not good. However, you can read the film as something different. This could be Sam Levinson criticizing his own toxic behavior and his identity as an artist. The key to this interpretation is Marie, and the fact that Levinson himself wrote the entire script. What if Levinson is aware of how prideful he was and of how negatively he acted after the failure of Assassination Nation, and this film was a sort of therapy where he puts his insecurities on display. Because as much as Malcolm always has a quick answer and puts himself on a higher pedestal than Marie, he also gets taken down constantly by her. In a way, you can see Marie as the grounded counterweight to Malcolm's pompous behavior. She calls him out on his exaggerated reaction to a mostly positive review of the film, on taking film criticism too seriously, on exploiting their relationship and their secrets for his art, and on how the lack of a true female perspective keeps his film from resonating on a deeper level with audiences. You can see this as Levinson understanding that he went overboard with some of the questionable sexual politics of Assassination Nation, and that, while he may have reacted negatively back in 2018, he has now developed a maturity, an introspection, questioning his own behavior, his films, and his self-doubt as an artist, accepting that he has to grow in order to be more fully realized as a filmmaker and as a human being. As I have said, both interpretations are very valid, but regardless of what you might think, there are some elements of the narrative that keep it from shining and likely show that this really was more of an excuse to attack critics than anything else. There are many inconsistencies and contradictions in the script that, done on purpose or not, come off as immature and gratuitous, putting emphasis on Malcolm being a black director and how authenticity and being close to the story presented in films does not ultimately matter, making examples of other beloved filmmakers that are not judged for those things. Marie complaining about the lead in Malcolm's film being topless in a key sequence, and how that felt graphic and showing lack of a female perspective, with Zendaya herself being nigh naked on the bed while saying all of this. The constant piling on the nameless LA Times critic, and treating her review as a betrayal of what she told him face to face after the premiere. There are many little elements like this that slowly add up, making any good intention in playing devil's advocate for Levinson seem more and more futile. Ultimately, I believe that, as gorgeously shot and scored Malcolm and Marie might be, you're almost forcing yourself to find a positive angle in which to tackle and accept the narrative. Levinson was clearly upset by what he had been accused of in terms of female representation in his films, and this was his way of venting out, while never really showing any growth for himself through the character of Malcolm. I would say that this is almost too personal of a film, a perfect example of something that he did for his own pleasure rather than for an audience, and in a way, I admire that. Malcolm and Marie has been dividing audiences and critics, and it has sparked a conversation that is far more interesting and thought-provoking than most films that have premiered on Netflix. And for that alone, I would say this is well worth a watch. Hello everyone, thank you for watching my short analysis of Malcolm and Marie. As you can tell, this is very different from my usual review, from my usual format. I'm trying to improve the quality of the content that I'm putting out, the overall production value of the videos that I make. And this is a new beginning for the channel. There's going to be less of me just talking straight into the camera. There's going to be more scripted videos, more video essays, analyzing movies, TV shows, characters, directors. That's what I want to do. I have more free time now, and I want to devote it to this channel, to all of you wonderful followers. And I'm also working on actually making more short films, experimental ones, documentaries, abstract pieces, narrative-driven shorts. And I want to make, at least if I can, one short a month. But to make all of this possible, I need an extra bit of support, of motivation to keep going, to get better equipment than what I already have, better sound system especially, because that's what I'm currently lacking a bit, because I got a good camera, a good lens, but I'm still missing a decent microphone, decent lighting for some of those videos. But I have revitalized my Patreon page that had been dead for almost 3 years now. The last post I made was a review for Hereditary, but since then I've decided to revitalize it a bit. There's 3 different tiers that you can find. The link to the Patreon is down in the comments below. It's just Enjoy the Movies though, you can find it easily. And a special shout out to Blueberry. I don't know if you're watching, but you've been supporting the channel for almost a year now, which I discovered just recently, and that blew me away. So thank you so much. And I hope you guys can support me as well. If you can't, that's totally understandable, but it's a way to put out better content. I can put more effort into them. I can devote more time to the channel, to making it grow, to making more quality content that all of you deserve, and that I love to make. So this is the beginning of a new era for Enjoy the Movies for myself, Nicolo Grasso. And yes, I'll see you down the road. And thank you as always for watching.